Hi everybody, I'm going to teach you this method of really learning a lick so that you can apply it. And here's the lick. So what it is, it's a blues lick starting on the 4, so it's in A, starts on the 4, goes to the flat 5, to the root, back to the flat 5 and the 4, and then the minor third, back to the root, and then the 6 ends on the root. So if you can learn it numerically, you can always sort of have a way to anchor the lick to remember it. So like if it's in A, right, go, there's your root right there. Or if it's a here, you can go to the 4. Now, what it is a let's just hear what it sounds like over an A7. So it's a cool blues lick, right? Now it doesn't have to end there in that one little spot. You can deconstruct it and write out the numbers in order and see what kind of scale it makes. Now here's the lick written out for you. See if I can focus in on a little bit better. Give me just a second. All right, there it is. So there's the 4, flat 5, root, flat 5, 4, 3, 1, 6, or double flatted 7th, flat 3, double flat 7th again, and then root. Now, if you put it in order, it's like a minor pentatonic. That's some of the notes are altered. Let me focus back in on my guitar. So here it is. It's like if you take a minor pentatonic, 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, 1, right? You can take the 5, flatten it, take the flat 7, flatten it. So you got. So now that you figured that out, you can adapt all the 5 pentatonic shapes. So you've got altered pentatonic, and this is what I've got written out right here. Let me focus in on that. So here's shape 1, written out as altered pentatonic. Here it is. Pentatonics sound really cool on guitar. You can do this kind of stuff. Let's see what it sounds like over the A flat, the A7 thing. Let's go to the second shape. Next shape. Now you can play that original lick in each one of these shapes, but let me go through the rest. Here's shape 4. And the last one. So now, if we go back to the original lick, you can use those numbers as your anchor. Remember, it started on the 4 to the flat 5, or you can anchor to the root. So let's go back to the first shape. So here's the root with our first finger. Let me go ahead and focus back on me. All right. So you can do something like this. Now each one of the shapes is going to have a different sort of vibe. You can do different kind of stuff. Now the second shape, our anchor is there on the pinky, on the B string, and that's the lick that I initially showed you. And then the next shape has the anchor on the second finger, and you can do that. You can adapt it just a little bit. Instead of that chord, you can kind of go out of the shape a little bit, kind of do that kind of double stop thing. And then the next one has the anchor on the third finger on the G string. And then the last one has the anchor on the with the pinky, or you can either do this. If you decide to use the anchor on the G string with the first finger, you can do this. Or if you do this one, it's let me do all 5 with a couple of variations, which is really 7. Was that 7? Let me do it again. All right, so that's 5 or 7, 5 really, with 2 variations, shapes of the same lick based on the pentatonic, altered pentatonic pattern. Now, you don't have to think of it in A blues, even though that's probably where it's most heard. I want to show you this other thing that you can do. It's on my website, noeljohnston.com. It's this web app that that you can, if you go to noeljohnston.com, click on media and go to voicing modes. Let me zoom in here, and you can see it's the what scales, it's really the kind of a sophomore question. What scales can I play with that? But this really kind of answers it really thoroughly, which kind of makes it useful and fun. What it is a bunch of different scales that are arranged numerically, and all the intervals. So there's 12 spots, and it's got 7 modes of major, 7 modes of harmonic minor, 7 modes of melodic minor, 7 modes of harmonic major, and also Hungarian minor. And then there's a bunch of synthetic scales underneath, and or non-tonal scales, I guess. So up the top, is the 7-note scale thing. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to click these buttons up here that isolate the notes in the lick, or you can do it with a voicing or a lick or whatever, or a chord. So here's what I'm going to do. Click 1, flat 3, 4, flat 5, and 6. And 6 is enharmonically the same as the flat 7. So what it did is it erased all the scales that do not have those intervals. And so what's left are these 6 choices. You see on the bottom, you've got the blues. I've got it written as this hybrid blues scale, which is it's like term I made up. It's not a real term, but it's like the minor blues and the major blues scales together. I mean, there's a lot of notes you can use in a blues, so I kind of find it hard to just say it's one thing. But anyway, these 5 other options that you may not have sort of automatically considered if you learned it as a blues lick. Let's take a look at the first one. It's the 2 of harmonic minor. So if we played that lick in A, the harmonic minor key is G. So G harmonic minor. Let me go ahead and focus back on me. See, so let's try that lick. And what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and record the lick by itself. Let's do that with the looper. Let me delete the first loop I had. 1, 2. So just to remind your ear, here's what it sounded like with over A7. I should sort of talk about the structure of that lick a little bit better. So if you remember the scale intervals, it's got a flat 5 and a 6 and a flat 3. It's basically the same as a diminished 7th arpeggio with a 4 in it. So you can actually do the kind of that Yngwie kind of thing, Yngwie lick. Just a diminished 7th arpeggio up on these 3 strings, the D, G, and B, and you can add a 4th to each one. And then the last one. Probably should have recorded that one, but anyway, the lick here. So let's see what it sounds like over G harmonic minor stuff. So the only difference between how I was playing that lick first when I was hearing it over an A blues as opposed to the G harmonic minor stuff is the harmonic gravity of the different notes. I mean, there's sort of a different pull on the notes. Like instead of that kind of feels unresolved, I might want to resolve it there or something like that. Here's what I mean. Whereas when it was over an A blues, it sounded cool to stay on the A. Does that make sense? So the harmonic, so you got to use your ear and have practiced enough of the scale shapes to have the muscle memory under your finger, so you can sort of instinctively and intuitively gravitate to the right notes that you want to hear if you're listening to the changes. So anyway, I hope that helps. So you take a lick, work it out numerically, figure it out in a bunch of different shapes, shapes and positions on the neck, because as Mick Goodrick calculated, there's an average of 9.2 different fingerings for every note on the guitar. So you really should practice different places to play it. And then enjoy the fact that different places on the neck are going to have different flavors. Different shapes are going to have different flavors. You can kind of finesse the notes a little differently in every different shape. And then finally, figure out different harmonic places to play that same lick. Not just only on one thing. You can actually apply it to a whole bunch of places. So that we did it on A blues, we did it on G harmonic minor, and then any mode in G harmonic minor, I just was doing random like triads in G harmonic minor, but you can pick one like I don't know, the 5. Sorry. Or the 6. Or you could go with the 7, the diminished, which has or just hanging on the 1. Or the 2, or even the 3. Or the 4. So you notice there was a bunch of other things on that app. Not just G harmonic minor, but also G harmonic major, and also the 7 of harmonic. So you could do it could be the 2 of harmonic major or the 7 of harmonic major. I'll just really, maybe quickly see what it sounds like. If it's a 7 of harmonic major, it would be B flat harmonic major, which sounds like this. If it's the 2 of harmonic major, it would be G harmonic major. Again, the harmonic gravity the notes will pull a little differently. So if I were hearing those chords underneath, I might, do something like that. Anyway, I hope that helps. There's some other options there. If you look on the website, noeljohnson.com, look at media and the web app under voicing modes. It's free. So anyway, hope that helps. I'll see you later.